Now, going to the actual state, it's a long, long time ago, and I don't know how long ago, but at least 6,000 years, where gigantic spaceships surrounded around our globe. How do we know this? First of all, we know it from the old Hindu, the Indian texts. We know it from the old Hindu text. In the text, there is the big book called Mahabharata. And the German and the English version of the Mahabharata, which we have, it's just nothing. The original has about more than 1,200 pages, separated in different books. And in the 5th book of the Mahabharata, you can read that of a sudden, gigantic cities surrounded our planet. These ancient people did not use the word spaceship or spacecraft because they had no word for it. They didn't know what it was. They said, of a sudden, cities surrounded our globe. And there were 3 cities up there. The people observed them, they had different colors. And of a sudden, out of these cities, smaller vehicles descended. The old Hindu called the smaller vehicles the Vimanas. And out of these Vimanas, some beings came. They were human-like looking. I'll explain you later why they were human-like looking. And these beings, so-called gods, came out of these Vimanas, and they looked around, and they took some of the young people. You come up with me, you, and you come up with me. And one of these young people had the name of Arjuna. And Arjuna was up there in one of these cities for at least 3 years. Sometimes he came back to Earth, then he was taken up there. He learned the language of these beings up there. And then he realized that these extraterrestrials, he learned that they are extraterrestrials, that they have a war among them, each other. They were not friendly. They were fighting against each other. Later, when he was back on Earth, he described what he had seen and his experiences. And now we have the book, the 5th book of the Mahabharata, and we have young guys like this one, and I asked him, listen, here we have the old text. Now let us imagine how this would look in pictures. We have the writing, the written form, how this would look in pictures. And we made a computer animation of that, what Arjuna reported. He said these cities around the earth were looking like gigantic spheres composed of different bulls, separate bulls. He himself was brought up with a small vehicle. The small vehicle is called Vimana, and he even gives the name of the pilot. He says his pilot's name was Matali, who brought him up there. And he said, when I was up here for the first time, I saw hundreds of other Vimanas of different shape and different form. Some of them were flying, others of them were in a big hall, just standing there. And as I said, he came up there, he learned the language of these beings, and he was taught in several belongings, and he learned that these so-called gods had fights among each other. They did not have the same opinion. And of a sudden he realized that there was a war in heaven. One of these gigantic space cities were fighting against the next one. And Arjuna describes it were like gigantic yellow beams. 2 of the cities were destroyed. And from the earthling, it looked as if gigantic stars would fall down on the ground. Now this is a computer animation which we made out of the old text of the 5th book of the Mahabharata.